All right, La Familia YouTube. So it's been a while since I've been in the podcast and within the podcast setup. As you guys know, that I've been moving and transitioning into my new spot, and as you can see, it's starting to come together. Pretty well, I would say. Your boy just had a birthday, and I can see the gray hairs right here in the view finder thing or whatever. So you guys, I'm gonna break a promise I made today. This was I had promised myself that I would not get political on this channel, and I'm not really gonna get political per se. I guess most people will probably view it as that, but you saw the title. This is my perspective on everything that's going on right now with the Kanye West Adidas thing from the perspective of a black dude. So I don't really know where to start. You guys know I go off the dome, so sometimes I ramble. I'm going to try my best not to ramble. I'm going to try my best to be as clear, you know, with my points as possible. And honestly, I didn't want to do this video, which I'm sure is a very cliche thing that everyone's going to say when it comes to this. I didn't want to do a video about this, but I feel like if you look at my channel, I actually have quite a few Yeezy reviews. In fact, I think the Yeezy reviews is, why I have a few hundred followers now I think that's where it all kind of started. And I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun and people are actually watching. And then also too, I did mention in one of my Techwear solo podcasts that that Kanye is a big reason why I got into techwear and a big reason why I'm into, higher ends of fashion. And if you are following me on Instagram, I actually kind of typed out a little paragraph about how I feel about the situation. And in short, I'm happy that Adidas dropped him. And I'm going to explain that. I never, ever want to bring down anybody, especially if that person is a successful black person. Okay? Let me say that again. I never, ever want to bring down anybody, especially people who are successful black people. Now, for you idiot trolls that might see this video and you're going to go down and be like, oh, that's racist. It's not racist, okay? Do your history, all that stuff. You guys know where perspective I'm coming from with this. Use your common sense. Don't even hang on that, okay? So, obviously, Kanye's been wilding lately, okay? Especially with his most recent anti-Semitic comments. Now, I feel like his anti-Semitic comments have actually pushed people over the edge quite a bit recently, and now we have celebrities chiming in, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, the straw was when he said slavery was a choice. That was when I was like, oh man, this is a classic situation that we have somebody who has gotten so rich and the power has gotten so much to his head that not only is he completely out of touch with just, reality in general, but it's gotten to a point where he feels like he doesn't even know who he is anymore. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't know how society sees him, et cetera, et cetera. And let me trying to collect my thoughts here. So again, for me, listen, let me just go back to the whole slavery was a choice thing. That was what, almost 3 years ago now that happened, 2 years ago. I have no concept of time sometimes. And right around that time is when I started selling my Yeezys. Like the fact that Adidas dropped him, that writing was on the walls, in my opinion, 2-3 years ago. Like he just started pushing his rhetoric further and further to the proverbial edge, however you deem the edge to be in your eyes. But you could just tell he was playing with it. You know what I mean? And the writing was on the walls then. And I started selling my Yeezys partially in part because, I was getting away from the whole hypebeast style. You guys, if you're an OG watcher of my channel, you know that you've watched my transition. And just I don't know, Yeezys just were not evolving in my opinion, especially looks wise. I still, I the coolest ones I thought were the out of everything that's been out are the 700 V3s because they look really futuristic and it was an evolved design. But otherwise, everything else to me was just stagnant. You know what I mean? And he was just riding on a success of those and he wasn't innovating as much anymore. So that was partially why I was like, this just doesn't fit into my aesthetic the way it used to. And it's also not really evolving. And not to mention, part of me is a little bit of a hipster and I just saw way too many people wearing Yeezys. And I was just like, okay, now I'm done. So, but the universe works in mysterious ways, and I think it was actually looking out for me during that time because when I started selling my Yeezys, that was when he started acting, he started really pushing the rhetoric. And going back to that slavery was a choice. For me, I remember watching that and going, okay, clear mental health issues, okay? That has not fallen blind or deaf on me, that he's clearly having mental health issues. And a lot of people probably like, dude, he's dealing with that. But here's the thing. The guy's a billionaire. He has all the, and I said this in my story that's currently active on my Instagram right now. He's got all the resources in the world to help him with his mental health issues, and he's choosing not to. So that is a choice. Okay, that is a choice. But going back to slavery as a choice comments, the reason why they hit me so hard during that time is because that was right in the thick of, I'm not even going to say the guy's name, but our former president. That was right in the thick where white supremacists were really having a moment. You know what I mean? Like that 2016 to 2020, white supremacists were really having a moment. They were really rising up. You know what I mean? And, then we had the birth of the intellectual dark web with, the Jordan Petersons of the world who said some, I don't know if really racist things, but definitely some weird homophobic things. Just bigotry in general just was really having a moment during those 4 years. And you know what? If you guys are going to unsubscribe because I said that, I get it. Our views are different, but I'm just speaking the truth right now, and I'm speaking how I saw things. And for not only Kanye West, one of the most powerful black voices on planet Earth, for him to come out and say slavery was a choice when in the thick of white supremacy and white supremacists having a moment, only thing I thought to myself was, God damn, Ye, could you have read the room a little bit, man? Like, could you have saved these comments for when white supremacists were not having a moment right now? I mean, we were in the thick of the George Floyd stuff and again, the racism having a moment. And it felt like, and I'm not old enough to have remembered this, but based on what I've read in history books, it felt like it was like the 1960s again. There was riots in the streets. There was civil rights movements going on. I mean, it was crazy. And it was just the worst time for him to be making a comment like that. And what happened? Exactly what you thought happened. White supremacists used him as a fucking puppet to push their narrative because they're like, see, even one of your own is saying it. Because that's the popular trope of, oh, you need to pick yourself by your bootstraps and blah blah, and it's not the white man with their neck on their foot on your neck, and it's not the laws that are from the days of slavery that are keeping you down. It's your lack of hard work. Yeah, okay, we built this fucking country. Lack of hard work. Anyways, whatever. I'm not gonna get into that, but when he said that, I was like, damn, I have a dilemma here. I love this man's clothes. He's a big reason why I'm even into the style that I'm into now. But at what point do I sacrifice, like what my self-respect a little bit to be wearing this man's clothes, knowing that he is clearly seeing black people is not important anymore. Like when he started, you could just tell by, and then obviously the Matter shirt, Kanye West has made it very clear to black folks, and he made it clear to me with the slavery was a choice thing, but even more so, he made it clear to black folks, especially the White Lives Matter shirts, that I don't give a shit about y'all's money. I don't need y'all's money anymore. I got a bunch of white people backing me up now. That's what happened. And I was just like, okay, cool. I sold my Yeezys going on a year ago now. So I'm like, all right, well, you're not getting any more of my fucking money then. Black people, the black dollar is not important to you anymore. Cool. You ain't going to get my black dollar, And the big YouTuber, big sneaker YouTuber, you guys, if you're watching my video, you probably watch his videos, Tony D2 Wild. He actually put out a video like basically asking his audience, like, do you guys think I should still, kind of separate the art from the artist and still continue to, review his sneakers and stuff like that. And I commented on it. I said to all black people, make sure you're spending your money wisely. Do not spend your money on people that don't celebrate you, whether they're black or white. It's crazy that we're saying that today. I never thought in a million years that I would see. And by the way, you guys, full disclosure, I've grown up in a predominantly white area, like 90% white. I live in Wisconsin, okay? 90%, the whole state is about like 95% white, okay? And I lived in a small ass town, okay? Never saw a skinhead or a white supremacist in my life or anything like that until I moved here in the mid 90s, okay? And I never thought I'd see the day that skinheads and white supremacists and stuff like that. I guess skinheads is a little bit outdated now because now they've dignified themselves and they wear suits and have really cool haircuts and stuff like that now, a la Richard Spencer. But I never thought I'd see the day that a black man, not only just a black man, but an influential black man on black culture would ever be the guy that white supremacists would be using as their beacon to basically push their narrative. I never thought I'd see the day. This is bonkers to me. It feels like I'm living in a fucking Twilight Zone. Not even kidding you. So yeah, I'm happy Adidas dropped Kanye, because one thing he said on that Drink Champs interview, above and beyond all of his, in and around his bigotry toward Jewish people and his anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic comments, he cockily said, hey, I could say anti-Semitic shit and Adidas ain't going to drop me. Adidas probably saw that and said, hold my fucking beer. And I'm glad they dropped him. Why? Because people like that should not have any level of power. That's a sign, in my opinion, of power falling into the wrong hands. That's black or white, Hispanic, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's what happens when power falls into the wrong hands. And the only way to nullify people like that is to take the power away from them. So now he's losing everything. And the only thing I hope is that he learns from all of this and maybe realizes that he was an idiot. There's a part of me that wants to think that this is some Andy Kaufman-esque type thing, but like, nah, it can't be. The guy's about to buy a Parler, which is the, I guess Truth Social now is, but, Parler is like the secondary, big platform for white supremacists. So it's definitely not a gag. It's definitely not a joke. This is not a troll or anything like that. This dude is serious about this, and he's doubling down on all of it. Well, that's what you get. You double down. Now you're losing everything. The other thing, too, is I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, freedom of speech and hate speech is still free speech. Well, you're absolutely right. That's true. But here's the problem. To this free speech warriors, what bothers me about you guys is that there's one piece of this whole thing that you just all seem to always forget, is that free speech is not freedom of consequences. And as cliche as that is to sound, as it is to say, it's fucking true. You're not free of consequences. So if you're under the thumb of private corporations, etc., and let's face it, Adidas is doing this because this is, the reason why they drag their feet on it is because they know that they're going to lose a shitload of money. But also, too, they're like, well, what do we do? Do we lose Kanye's customers or do we lose all of our customers? Not to mention the checkered past that Adidas has that I've just fairly recently found out about. I didn't even know that the two people that started Adidas were, one was very pro-Nazi and the other one was slightly pro-Nazi. Still pro-Nazi either way. So, they have that checkered past to contend with. So, yeah, they had to make a choice. And I feel it was the right one. You got to take power away from people who are inciting evil. That's it. And that's what Kanye is doing right now. And he started it with the slavery was a choice comments. I remember during the Yeezus era, where he had the bomber jacket with the Confederate flag on it. By the way, that was a very 1990s white supremacist uniform, by the way. I saw that a lot when I first moved here in the mid-90s. A lot of people, either it was a swastika armband or it was like sometimes you saw the Confederate flag, and it was always bomber jackets, which sucks because bomber jackets are cool. But Nazis definitely claimed them quite a bit in the 90s. If you're too young to know that, that's... let me just put you on game because I'm old. But yeah, I remember when he did that and I was kind of like, okay, I could see that artistically. It's kind of like the N-word where we're reclaiming it, so to speak, And granted, at that time I was a lot younger and that was my thoughts. And now, I actually feel like us black folks need to get the N-word out of our vocabulary because that's causing too much confusion. And now you have white people really taking on the hip hop stuff so hard that they're starting to say it, and everybody's confused, and but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. I rambled. I'm sorry. Like, I really feel passionate about this, and this has been bothering me for years, and it's been, and like, I've been trying my best not to get political, but because of the fact that I fairly recently talked about how Kanye was a big influence on me, et cetera, I felt like I need to make this video. But, yeah, you guys, that's all I got. The whole point of this ramble is that I'm glad Adidas dropped Kanye. I think he needs to hit rock bottom, and then hopefully Mr. West will wake up. So, obviously you can see I'm also very sad about this, like he's such a big figure in fashion, and like he's a black man that turned high fashion on his head. Do you guys know that in the 80s and 90s how not inclusive high fashion was, like for black folks? I mean, what he did is way bigger than you guys think, and it gave black folks a sense of pride. And now I don't know what's going on with the man. I mean, yeah, mental health issues, sure, but again, he's got the resources to help him with that. So I can't give the guy a pass anymore. I can't. So anyways, La Familia YouTube, hopefully you will stay subscribed. If not, I totally understand. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I felt like I needed to do this, and yeah, I'm out.